Welcome, viewers, to Bodhi Unified Flow. Here, we simplify complexity and amplify performance. Today, we're diving right into value stream mapping, or VSM, and specifically, we're tackling step 4, action plans and Kaizen. We're going to explore exactly how to implement continuous changes using the PDCA cycle to weed out those stubborn inefficiencies from your project life cycles. This is that crucial bridge where we stop just diagnosing workflow problems and start actively engineering the solutions to hit absolute operational excellence. Let's get into it.
Here's our agenda for today's explainer. We'll start with our session objectives, move from maps to action plans, dig into Kaizen and incremental improvement, demystify the PDCA cycle, look at some real-world lean interventions, and finally wrap up with a summary and key references.
Section 1. Welcome and Session Objectives. So by the end of this explainer, you're going to walk away with a highly actionable roadmap. First, we'll uncover how to smoothly transition from just mapping out your current processes to actually intervening in them. Second, we'll master those core Kaizen principles for sustainable improvement. And lastly, you'll learn how to apply the plan, do, check, act cycle to systematically eliminate waste from literally any project lifecycle. This is all about ensuring your optimized future state doesn't just stay a pipe dream, but actually becomes a reality. Section 2. Maps to Action Plans. Decades ago, the brilliant minds at Toyota established this vital workflow that separates theory from execution. Now, your current state map documents the reality of your operations right now, warts and all. Think of it as a diagnostic tool that clearly spots the muda, or waste, that's bottlenecking your flow. We're talking about overproduction, unnecessary waiting times, or defective outputs. Your future state map, on the other hand, is your architectural blueprint for an optimized vision. It deliberately strips out those wasted steps so resources can pull smoothly through the system. Now, that tension, that gap between these two maps, that is exactly where your action plan lives. It dictates the specific sequence of events you need to completely transform your operations. But here's a quick reality check for us all. You absolutely cannot overhaul a complete value stream overnight. If you try, the sheer complexity is going to paralyze your team and wreck your existing delivery commitments. Instead, getting to that future state workflow requires highly structured value stream plans. You've got to divide the implementation into distinct, manageable segments, which we often call loops. For example, you might tackle a pacemaker loop first, because that dictates the rhythm of your entire production process, and then optimize your upstream supplier loops later. By fracturing a massive, scary transformation into these highly tactical, isolated projects, the impossible suddenly becomes entirely achievable. You isolate your risk, and you guarantee progressive wins. Section 3. Kaizen. Incremental continuous improvement. So what exactly is Kaizen? At its core, it's continuous, ongoing, incremental improvement. But the real secret sauce here is total organizational involvement. We're talking from the executive suite all the way down to the frontline workers who are actually interacting with the process every single day. Listen, Kaizen is not about massive, disruptive, high-risk shifts that drain your capital. It's the disciplined, daily mechanism we use to pull a process out of systemic chaos and into a predictable, highly efficient flow. It targets those exact bottlenecks we found during the mapping phase and resolves them through hundreds of small, deliberate adjustments over time.
Now, there's a critical rule in lean management you've got to remember. Meaningful improvement is absolutely impossible without a stable baseline. You literally cannot optimize chaos. Without a baseline, how can you tell if a change is actually an improvement or just some random variation, right? So to stabilize operations, teams use the 5S discipline: sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain to bring rigorous visual order to the workspace. You also absolutely need standardized work. That means meticulously documenting your current best practices so you have a rigid starting point to measure against. And when issues inevitably pop up, we don't just put a Band-Aid on the symptoms. We deploy scientific problem-solving techniques, like asking the 5 whys, to drill past those surface-level anomalies and find the true root cause.
Section 4. Demystifying the PDCA cycle. To guarantee that our Kaizen efforts aren't just temporary knee-jerk fixes, organizations integrate a formal methodology known as the PDCA cycle. Pioneered by Dr. W. Edwards Deming, this structured model is the absolute heartbeat of continuous improvement. It gives teams a rigorous scientific framework to test, validate, and standardize every single adjustment they make to their value stream. Basically, it treats every single proposed process change like a scientific hypothesis that has to be objectively proven before it's permanently adopted. The logic of this cycle is incredibly elegant. It starts with plan, thoroughly analyzing the process to spot potential failures and laying down clear, quantifiable metrics for your proposed solution. Next up is do. You execute those planned actions in a controlled, localized environment. Then comes check, where you rigorously measure the new performance indicators against your original baseline to objectively prove if the change actually worked the way you thought it would. Finally, act. Based on the hard data, you either standardize the successful process across the broader organization or you launch an entirely new cycle to course correct. It's just a relentless, endless loop of optimization.
Section 5. Real-world lean interventions.
The beauty of value stream mapping is how it adapts seamlessly to whatever environment it's applied to. In construction, the focus is highly physical, right? Optimizing trade handoffs, managing complex work zones, and perfecting the make-ready process to remove constraints weeks before a hammer ever swings. But in design and software engineering, you aren't moving bricks. You're tracking the invisible flow of ideas and information. The goal there is eliminating those incredibly frustrating rework loops caused by poor coordination and meticulously tracking lead time, which is the total time from a client request to actual delivery, versus cycle time, which is the time actually spent actively working on that task. The crazy part is, the underlying mechanics of eliminating waste remain exactly the same across these vastly different fields.
Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Think about bricklaying. Your mapping might reveal that a highly skilled worker wastes 20% of their days simply walking back and forth to grab mortar. The Kaizen intervention here is simple but profound. Reorganize the work sequence to create localized mortar stations, and boom, you instantly erase that travel waste. Or let's consider administrative bloat, like slow management approvals and redundant manual forms. The intervention? Deploy digital data collection apps to automate data transfer. For tools and materials that cause high search times and safety hazards, a targeted 5S Tidy Up event immediately clears the staging area. These are small, precise interventions, but when you systematically apply them through the PDCA cycle, they compound into massive performance gains.
Section 6. Summary and key references. So, to quickly recap our journey today, value stream mapping is your essential diagnostic tool. It explicitly identifies the start gap between your current waste and your optimized future flow. But to bridge that gap, you absolutely must break the implementation down into safe, manageable loops. We use the philosophy of Kaizen to drive continuous, daily improvements across all levels of the team. And we rely heavily on the PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act, to rigorously test, validate, and standardize those improvements, ensuring that our operational gains are both permanent and measurable. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question. If you applied the PDCA cycle to your current project today, right now, what hidden inefficiencies would you uncover first? True performance amplification starts the exact moment you decide to systematically look for the waste that's hiding in plain sight. Finally, for those of you looking to dive even deeper into the frameworks we've discussed today, please check out these foundational texts, ranging from Ruther and Shook's pioneering work on learning to see waste to Dr. Deming's original PDCA models. Thank you so much for joining me today on Bodhi Unified Flow. I really look forward to exploring more ways to simplify complexity and amplify your performance next time.